Right. It's good. It's okay. Yeah. So I'm going to give a talk today about something that I received a few months ago, I think in September, like a short teaching from Guru Rinpoche, which wasn't a meditation per se, but like a text or a kind of conceptual teaching, to put it like that. Still has an energy to it though. So I think I will just first read the actual text, and then I want to go a little bit deeper into the different parts of it. So it's called the 5 pillars, or the 5 pillars of open heart. Oh. The 5 pillars. Whenever the teachings of the lotus-born are revealed in this physical world and a new lineage born, a basic structure takes form. This structure consists of 5 pillars, each of which has 3 layers of meaning: outer, inner, and absolute. The 5 pillars are Guru, his Pure Land, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and their levels of meaning are as follows. The outer meaning of Guru refers to the revealer of the teachings, the Terton. The inner meaning of Guru refers to the energetic presence and blessings of Guru Rinpoche, the Master. The absolute meaning of Guru refers to self-arising awareness itself. The outer meaning of his Pure Land refers to the center of teaching or temple. The inner meaning of his Pure Land refers to the vibratory field of the copper-colored mountain. The absolute meaning of his Pure Land refers to self-arising awareness itself. The outer meaning of Buddha refers to the Shakyamuni Buddha, who laid the foundation. The inner meaning of Buddha refers to bodhicitta, the key to unlock the mind. The absolute meaning of Buddha refers to self-arising awareness itself. The outer meaning of Dharma refers to the teachings of Sutra. The inner meaning of Dharma refers to the teachings of Tantra. The absolute meaning of Dharma refers to self-arising awareness itself. The outer meaning of Sangha refers to the group of practitioners and the organization. The inner meaning of Sangha refers to all sentient beings without exception. The absolute meaning of Sangha refers to self-arising awareness itself. May all beings be free. All beings are free. So it's very simple, like the 5 refuges are very simple. But with these layers of meaning, it seems that they include the whole, like they're the basic structure of the whole teaching of Guru Rinpoche, basically. So first, maybe I can say something about inner, outer, and absolute, because it's a common distinction, but it has different names. There is like inner, of course. There is outer, inner, absolute, But there is also coarse, more subtle, and then the subtlest. So that's what it means. Like it's just going from the coarsest state of existence to a subtler one, to the subtlest, which isn't actually, it doesn't have any form, to put it like that. So we're speaking about two relative ones and the absolute. So yeah, when it comes to guru, I said that the outer aspect is the terton. So there is always a revealer of the teachings. It seems that Guru Rinpoche himself revealed teachings when he was here, but when he is not here, he has people, he has help, like a helper, a main helper to reveal the teachings. There have been many of these. Tujum Lingpa is a very famous one. Guru Chöwang is another famous one. And there have been so many that in Tibet they made a system out of it. And Guru Chöwang was how do you say, like he was very involved in trying to separate the frauds from the ones who are actually tertons, who are actually revealing the teachings of real gurus or of tantric gurus, which I will come to. But it's not only in Tibetan traditions, of course. It's not only in Buddhism that we have termas and tertons. They're everywhere. They just have different names. It might, like in Tibetan tradition, it's put very highly, or it's made like a bigger deal out of. In some traditions, it seems to not be made that big a deal out of, that teachings can appear from a meditative state, or just appear in this world from a more subtle plane. But so I mentioned that Chöwang, he tried to separate the frauds from the real tertons. And I can't remember, he had 3 different principles. They were the all-compassionate one, or Avalokiteshvara. So these are the practices that the terton must practice himself. It's Guru Rinpoche, and it's Dzogchen, the natural state. So, and Guru Rinpoche is the inner aspect of Guru in this case. So what it means is that the outer guru, the outer teacher, in order to be an authentic one, in this sense, in a tantric sense, they have to be in relation to an actual Mahasiddha, unless they are a Mahasiddha themselves. But when it comes to the teachings of Guru Rinpoche, the outer guru has to be in connection to Guru Rinpoche himself. And it's a wonderful blessing to actually be in as you all know in this room, that to actually have a connection, that anybody can have a living connection to an actual Mahasiddha is wonderful. And Tantra brings that benefit, that we can all do it, we can all have it without, like, despite time and location, that becomes not so important. With, like, the Mahasiddha doesn't need to be alive and here and now, or have a body, I mean. We can actually cultivate a relationship directly to the guru in an energetic form. But the whole point of cultivating a relationship to a guru is that they teach us the natural state itself. So that's the overbearing structure. You have the outer guru who reveals the teachings, who supports the students, is in a connection to the inner guru, which is also being which is also infusing the teachings. And in our case, we practice Guru Yoga, every one of us, so we can come into connection with the Tantric Guru, the inner Guru, and realize the natural state, which is the absolute Guru. As for Pure Land, it follows the same structure. So there is a place, and this is in all traditions, they have places where they gather to, it's called worship, it's called many different things, meditation, prayer, and in our case, we have a center in Birmingham that we are like in the beginning stages of really, manifesting. Because as there is a connection between the Pure Land vibration, you want to make the so the center that we have in Birmingham has been consecrated by Guru Rinpoche, but there still needs some outer, we need to fix it up a bit, because setting and how things look have an impact on the mind. At least in my experience, like the first time I bought my meditation cushion of myself was because I had read that if you have a certain place in your apartment for meditation, it's supposed to make it easier to make it into a habit. And it turned out to be the case that when there was a designated area, it was like the space for meditation. So that's not so important maybe for a seasoned practitioner, but it does help to have a place that is designated for practice. And this is like a temple or an outer Pure Land. And as I mentioned also, the inner Pure Land, there is for me, it's primarily a vibratory field. Like it's something that I can feel into, and also sometimes I've gotten images, but looking at different images of different people's representations, they don't exactly need to look the same. So that seems secondary. But the feeling of Pure Land, the vibratory, the energetic, the tantric charge of Pure Land is the most important as I see it. And that can be practiced very easily by practicing Pure Land mantras. As a transformative practice. And which again leads to the natural state, which is the inner, which is the absolute essence of Pure Land, when the mind is transformed so that wherever we go is Pure Land. And when it comes to Buddha, so Shakyamuni, Buddha is the outer Buddha. He is the common denominator in all Buddhist practices, Buddhist traditions. He laid the foundations of the teachings, the so-called Four Noble Truths, or Four Facts, that there is suffering, there is a cause of suffering, there is a way out of suffering, and the way out of suffering. And also he had a lot of other teachings. But it's still like it's the foundation of it. And when we move to the inner Buddha, it's something that is common to all of us, which is bodhicitta, which is the way that we can unlock ourselves. So we are shown the path. Shakyamuni showed us the path, but in order to fulfill it, to realize it or manifest it, bodhicitta is needed. The intention or wish to practice for all living beings. And I will get back to maybe I could say something about it now that bodhicitta is not just the intention, but it's also a series of practices. So to help us transform our minds through realizing the interconnectedness, like the direct connection with other beings. And for example, by saying, may all beings be free, there is a direct transformation. So this is why we chant it in the first place. It's not just like something to remind ourselves, but if we feel what happens, for me, how I've kind of subtly seen it in my mind is like the neurons in the brain. So one starts shooting and it spreads to all of the rest. And this is how it feels like to me when to actually say, may all beings be free, or to practice bodhicitta. There is a direct kind of jolt of aliveness to it. Like you shatter your own confines, the confines of your own energetic bubble, and become and feel the connection with all beings, with the natural state. And that's the point. Bodhicitta leads to the natural state, the absolute Buddha. And just a little quickly about, I mentioned Shakyamuni, so he's often, not related, but associated with the sutric practices. All sutric lineages are more or less devoted to Shakyamuni Buddha. So, and that's the outer aspects of Dharma, that we see we start investigating our own bodies, our own minds, the objects that arise. We look at the qualities in a very, very straightforward way by identifying something and actually looking at it. So that's important. Like that's the foundation. As a tantric lineage, we haven't excluded any of that. Like with all of these, going from outer to inner to absolute, there is a kind of transcending and including. So there is something more that opens up, but it includes it still. And that's an important point. So Tantra is more about transforming, using energies to transform emotions, but it doesn't exclude the sutric way of approaching objects. But Tantra seems to be important because it has an effect on what seems not to be what sutra can't deal with, which is the substrate consciousness, which also is what bodhicitta deals with. And again, both of these together, Sutra and Tantra, lead to the natural state. And as an overbearing principle, Dzogchen doesn't exclude any of these things. It transcends, again, and includes, and it kind of transforms both Sutra and Tantra so that they can be practiced in the Dzogchen way, because Sutra and Tantra can be practiced in their own kind of, without that bigger context, but with the Dzogchen context, it's even better, because you work with both absolute and relative at the same time. And Sangha, outer Sangha, of course, it's open heart Sangha in this case. It's a community of practitioners. It's crucial. It's one of the 3 jewels that are common to all Buddhist traditions. And it's crucial for many, like in many ways. It's also like it's an immense benefit to the actual practitioner to be able to share as a group, and to be able to like get emotional support when that is needed. But it's also important because as a group, like a group can achieve much more than what an individual person can. So when we come together with all our individual differences and like start working together, it seems that something happens, that there is a much greater chance of getting things done. But in order for that to really be fulfilled, like or to be the potential of a Sangha to be reached, the inner Sangha must also be recognized, which is that all sentient beings are the Sangha. And that kind of gives a different spin, a different purpose to a Sangha, because a Sangha doesn't then just exist for its members. It does that too. It's an emotional support or a support for members, but it also exists to spread the teachings and to help all sentient beings to like be a vehicle for transformation in the world, and not just for its members. Which again, when that happens, both on an individual level and as a community, the natural state is recognized much more easy, because it's bodhicitta again. It directly leads to the recognition of the natural state. So that's a little bit about the actual text. Maybe not so systematic, but it's my usual non-systematic way. But my main point is that all of these can be seen and are seen by practitioners on different experiential levels, are seen, like they can be seen differently. So some might only see the outer aspects, some might have access to the inner aspect, and some might have access or glimpses to the all overbearing structure of the natural state. But all of them are important to go from one's own practice, one's individual practice, to working, like to extend it beyond the confines of one's own body, to use bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is common to all of these inner aspects. seeing the direct connection and the importance of including all living beings in the practice, which leads much faster to the natural state, in my experience. Are there any questions or comments? If not, I think we should just chant then for 5 refuges. Yeah.
So if you can do it again,
Yeah.
in the beginning, and then we will give it several minutes.
Okay.
That's the way.
The 5 pillars. Whenever the teachings of the Lotus-born are revealed in this physical world and a new lineage born, a basic structure takes form. This structure consists of 5 pillars, each of which has 3 layers of meaning: outer, inner, and absolute. The 5 pillars are the Guru, his Pure Land, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and their levels of meaning are as follows. The outer meaning of Guru refers to the revealer of the teachings, the Terton. The inner meaning of Guru refers to the energetic presence and blessings of Guru Rinpoche, the Master. The absolute meaning of Guru refers to self-arising awareness itself. The outer meaning of his Pure Land refers to the center of teaching, or temple. The inner meaning of his Pure Land refers to the vibratory field of the copper-colored mountain. The absolute meaning of his Pure Land refers to the self-arising awareness itself. The outer meaning of Buddha refers to the Shakyamuni Buddha, who laid the foundation. The inner meaning of Buddha refers to bodhicitta, the key to unlock the mind. The absolute meaning of Buddha refers to self-arising awareness itself. The outer meaning of Dharma refers to the teachings of Sutra. The inner meaning of Dharma refers to the teachings of Tantra. The absolute meaning of Dharma refers to self-arising awareness itself. The outer meaning of Sangha refers to the group of practitioners and the organization. The inner meaning of Sangha refers to all sentient beings without exception. The absolute meaning of Sangha refers to self-arising awareness itself. May all beings be free. All beings are free.